coming up in this episode of Circle Back.
In my opinion,
Geoff is getting fired
sorry,
up.
last point here.
Hot.
It's also
Hot flashes.
You want to show emotion? Great. Show emotion. Don't act like you're a 3-year-old kid running around at Chuck E. Cheese. Yeah.
Rory won the Masters, and he woke up the next day, and he's not feeling how he thought he would feel. And he's got a pickle up his ass right now.
My God, the poor worker getting minimum wage who had to walk out to that car and get just unleashed on.
Yeah, not to go too tinfoil hat here, but I'm not sure how real any of this is.
Disclaimer: the content presented in this show is intended for entertainment purposes only. All opinions expressed are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of any individuals or organizations mentioned. Statements made about public figures or entities are based on publicly available information and are not intended to harm or defame any person or business. This show relies on fair use of social media posts, which are presented in good faith for the purpose of commentary and criticism. Viewers and listeners are advised to form their own opinions. Circle Back here on the Circles Off channel. It's part of the Hammer Betting Network and it's presented by Underdog. This is the show where we cover the latest and trending stories from gambling Twitter. We had so many great stories that unfolded over the weekend. It was hard to really get it all into one show, but it's exactly what we're going to be doing today on the show with the Tuesday crew. Myself, Jacob Gramegna, your host for I guess both of the shows at this current point. We also have Rob Pizzola, pro bettor and CEO of The Hammer. We have in the bottom left, Geoff Fienberg of Mayo Media Network, and a blind squirrel who found 2 nuts, which we'll ask about in just a moment here. We also have a seasoned NBA bettor in the bottom right in Kirk Evans. But yeah, blind squirrel found 2 nuts, 0-3. Talk to us about that little tag under your name there, Geoff.
He's trying to figure out where the hell that came from.
What did I do?
I don't know.
I don't know. I thought you changed.
Change your tag before the show?
That's what it says underneath your name. Did somebody?
I don't know.
Rob,
I don't know what that's referring to. I always love when the U.S. Open goes to Oakmont and their image is a squirrel, and it's like a squirrel finding a nut like a ball. I always like to think which golfer is going to find the nut. I don't know though. I don't know why that got changed. I don't know what that's actually about. I didn't hit a winning.
Do you record with anybody else on StreamYard?
Yeah. Do you do StreamYard with anyone else?
Someone I did a lot of work shows last week for the U.S. Open, so I don't know.
Somebody changed it.
Someone changed your caption and it stuck, which is great, honestly. I love Jeff's reaction.
I've never touched it.
What a great open to the show that we have here today. As you can tell, we're recording online once again. We kind of got screwed over by the delivery on some items. We had delays on the deliveries, so I'll take the heat here. I said we'd be back in studio Monday. I had no control whatsoever of it, but I will still take the heat. I will make it happen for next week, though, unless, again, something does go very, very wrong. But something went extraordinarily wrong, not once, but twice for a well-known handicapper in the space. I'd say well-known, well, it depends who you ask, for the right reason or the wrong reason, and that was Alex Caruso. If you don't know Alex Caruso, it's not the NBA player, but shares picks online and shares what I think we would consider, and I won't speak for him, but many would consider this to be minus EV sort of content. Not the sort of content that would likely aid you in winning in the long run. So he posted a full recap of a day of betting, rough day, really, full MLB recap here. He has 7 bets, 6 of which were losers. Sickening to look at the whole. I can't even read this. Sickening to hold my L's. We'll continue to live in the lab until the big day comes tomorrow. Sorry to anyone who's tailed me. Makes me sick losing, but doing everything I can to get out of this and go on a huge run. Like the classic sort of handicapper dialogue there. I'm going to put in extra work, do everything I can. Conveniently, though, as you noted, Geoff, in this recap That already wasn't very good. It did not include the 60-unit loser that he had on under half a home run for Parker Meadows, who did hit a home run. He wagered 60 units to win 9.8 units, and it lost. But that's just the start. That's only half of the story, because the next day he bet on under half a home run for Royce Lewis, 26 units to win 4.8. And it lost again. We had CK Picks 23 share it, saying he did it again. Frito Bet said Buddy has turned into Booking with Trent, 86 units in 2 days, not even counting the other L's, which we noted in the first slide here. Devin's Bookie as well said time to hang him up, brother. Let's go to you, Geoff. Do you recall this tweet here? Do you recall posting this one here?
One day, this will be a criminal act. Like, no, if people, like, there's this whole ring, I'm sure it happens in every city. I saw it on the news, or it came into my feed, that someone panhandling in Toronto was just like a ring of not actual homeless people, right? And they got all these spots. This is the same sort of thing. It's illegal. They've been arrested. It's a crime. One day, this will be a criminal offense. Until then,
what, for like misleading customers?
I don't know why is it criminal to panhandle and then get picked up in a Mercedes?
Well, I think the best example is like financial advice. You can't just like give people financial advice if you're not a like whatever. I don't know the exact terminology, but I would say similar to that of like you can't, like people always say like not financial advice when they're posting stocks, because that's not something that's allowed. But yeah, these tweets are, it's if this becomes illegal, these tweets will like be the front page on the legal documents of why it is illegal. Like, one, pull up the first slide. Like, even though that this isn't the most egregious thing he does, the fact that it's just check marks and X's without saying what he won or lost, like I almost wish that he put Parker Meadows no home run with an X, and it's just like it looks like it's a 1 unit loss, but actually it's a 60 unit loss. So yeah, this guy's completely lost the plot. I didn't realize how bad it had gotten, but there's just so many good examples of like scummy tout behavior here of like clearly he's trying to get a lot of units back by having a massive unit play on something that's really likely. Like, this is kind of why the unit system also is massively flawed, of risking 60 units to win 10 on a minus 600 bet is just such egregious risk management that no one would ever do that in their wildest dreams. And if anyone listened, like, if anyone actually risked 60 units on this, I am really sorry. That is fucking crazy.
It does go under the radar a lot that like your unit size is designed to be a percentage, a 1% of your bankroll. So he lost more than half of his bankroll in this one single bet. And then your now new unit size, he would have wagered 26 units. So it's not an extra. So like, it's not an extra 26% on the original. It's now even less than before. So whatever he were to win back, let's say if he were to do this again, which I imagine he would, it wouldn't actually be winning the same amount back in terms of the amount of units won back compared to the 6 units that he lost originally.
Guys, he didn't lose 86 units and nobody else lost 86 units because Alex Caruso is not a bettor. Like, he's a performer. The props just happen to be bet slips and fake units. Like, this is how all these guys do it. Like, I think Kirk made a great point. Let's be clear, it's not the type of bets that make this clownish. I know a lot of people were going in on like, oh, minus 600. It's the complete lack of bankroll management. It's the fake transparency. It's the fact that Geoff caught him in the act. Like, he didn't even include the 60 unit loss in his recap. Like, nobody would notice. You know, people are debating whether laying minus 600 on a prop can be plus EV. In theory, it can, but that's missing the bigger point. Like, the bigger point here is Alex Caruso is running a content strategy, not a betting strategy. The goal isn't to make money through betting itself. It's to stir up engagement by doing something outrageous. Like, this is WWE level storytelling for the algorithm. You win big, you brag about it. You lose big, well, you go viral. You know, you omit stuff from your record, you just hope nobody remembers and people fall for it. That's the entire strategy. I mean, he lit 86 units on fire in 48 hours and he's gaining followers. Like, that's where we're at in life, right? If he ever tried to apply these strategies with real money, real limits, he'd be out of the game in a week. But this is never about betting. It's building a brand off the illusion that you are. And that's what makes it sad to me. Like, it's kind of just a sad reflection, and he's like a poster child for what the industry has become.
So it's like a win-win even when he loses, because the two things that can happen when he loses big is no one catches it or it gets caught and explodes.
Correct. As long as, certain people operate under the MO that any engagement is good engagement, right? I personally don't believe that. Like, if someone is constantly if 90% of the feedback to me is making fun of me online or whatever, I don't care if I'm picking up followers and like all those followers are going to clown me. That's not what I care about. But there's certain people that's the metric they live by. Like, me and Kirk bet, right? The metric we live by is cash money. Like, how much did we actually make? These people are building following, they're tracking engagement. And I know that sounds weird because I'm also running a content company now, but I'm not going to do like whatever it takes to pick up a few followers. And I think that's where it all gets lost in the shuffle. Geoff, like your
but
point,
you bet. So those your reputation matters for those relationships, which is your primary source of income and supporting yourself and your family and everything.
yes.
So that's why your reputation is still more important than some clicks, because job one for you is still that professional better life.
Yes, it is. But in the case of Caruso, like, I used to get infuriated with stuff like this. And now as I've gone, I don't know, older, wiser, more seasoned, it's like, who is following Alex Caruso at this point and thinking that they're going to tail his plays and win money? Like when we talk
People
about how
do.
this should...
People do.
Yeah, that's where I
do.
disagree with you here. Alex Caruso to me is not like Amanda Vance. Like, Amanda Vance, I can much more see the argument of like people are more paying
Great example.
for like to be in this weird group, it seems like. But Caruso, one, I just looked it up. He has more followers than Book It with Trent on Twitter. Like, he is a massive.
370K, if you don't know.
And his following, like, the last time I checked, it was definitely over 100K, but it was not 370. So, like, you only need to hit a small percentage of that group to think that he is a winning bettor. Like, I agree with you. I don't think anyone lost 86 units and was, like, following with proper bankroll management. Right. But I think a lot of or like with the bankroll management Caruso recommended. But I think a lot of people lost a lot of money tailing his picks this weekend.
I have firsthand experience with somebody like who actually believes in Alex Caruso as a bettor. I was in Chicago to watch a Jays game at Wrigley Field. There was a rain delay, so I was just chatting to the guy next to me. Happened to bring up work and the hammer and stuff. And he told me he follows Alex Caruso and tails his plays. Immediately I went, he's not going to really like our content. But it was just, I had a brief moment of like thinking, should I try and save him, or is it just not worth having that conversation? I ended up going with it's not worth that conversation. But like there are people who genuinely believe this is content that is going to help them make money. So I agree with Kirk, though. Amanda Vance, it's like, yeah, are people paying for the picks? I don't think so. People are genuinely subscribing to this for actual content they think is going to help them win money. And I think, like you said, you're not angry about it anymore. I just think it's very, very sad that this can exist.
Yeah, like I'm big on education in this space. And obviously, like, I'm not condoning what he does. But I think if you're trying to educate people in this space nowadays, educate them on the culture of how the betting industry works and how there are just influencers, just like any other industry, that are just trying to build their followings at all costs. Like, they will put out anything out there that gets engagement, right? The tweet threads are a big one nowadays too. People just using AI to generate tweet threads because people are interacting with them. That to me is like what you see most in the space nowadays, right? It's this fake illusion of I'm trying to help you win money, and the reality is I'm just trying to generate clicks at all costs. And losing 86 units in 2 days for a bettor, that's catastrophic and crippling. For a content creator, guess what? They're just going to restart with a new bankroll tomorrow. It doesn't make a difference, right? 86 units lost, consider that a cost of doing business and a way to grow your following, which is a really sad state of affairs.
But it's like one of those things, Rob. I mean, you can turn losing that. You can keep integrity while acknowledging your losses. Like you had that Super Bowl bet, nothing off the upright, it doinks off the upright. You can't hide from the loss, but you can like lean into like the fact that, okay, like the internet has called my number here and I'll take, I can get some like engagement because this thing was very polarizing.
Well, which is why I've always been a fan of Trent, honestly, in the space, because I think he does exactly that. He is betting his own money, but like he doesn't avoid the losses. He almost leans into them. It's you got to be real and authentic, and that's what I like about certain content creators. To me, Alex Caruso is the complete opposite of that. It's just an inauthenticity to the max, and that's where I have a problem.
Can I do something dangerous?
I mean, you live dangerously, so you might as well, Geoff.
Well, I feel like I got a text last week from a buddy who's like kind of in the gambling space, but doesn't really know everybody, and I could be causing trouble here. I don't mean to cause trouble, but I thought like to an outsider, maybe it's like, okay, maybe that's a fair question. He's like, Fezzik can lose a minus 4,000 and is railroaded on it for like a year, but Caruso will literally be able to just like a Simpsons episode that this crazy thing that happened didn't actually happen when the next episode started.
I think there's different levels too, and like you got to evaluate each of the situations in a vacuum, right? Like Fezzik has won contests in the space before. Debate what you want about his picks package, winning or losing, whatever. I don't want to get into those details, but there are people who would respect him as a bettor, even though he's selling picks, whereas Caruso's probably not really commanding that level of respect. I think each of these has to be viewed in isolation, really. It's a valid point, Geoff. I mean, like, flip the shoes, right?
I'm not comparing Fezzik to Caruso. Fezzik,
I wouldn't even draw that comparison, and I'm on the
no, I didn't even. And if it came off, that's a and I don't even have your beefs. I'm independent of your beefs.
Right. But go ahead, Kirk.
I just think and me defending Fezzik on this show is probably a once in a lifetime event, but I think there are many worlds where Fezzik's minus whatever bet was actually probably a decent bet and he just lost.
Yeah.
But I don't think he recommended his followers to risk 60% of their bankroll. And I think there was actual thought behind it. Versus to me, Caruso, it much more seems like he's just purely trying to game the unit system of betting and then ran into some bad variance. So like there are levels, and like I'm definitely not ever going to recommend people subscribe to Fezzik, but like Rob saying, Fezzik is much more serious to me than Caruso.
Also, Fezzik's combative, so like when you have the opportunity to throw it back to him, you're going to take that. Whereas Caruso, to what I've seen, hasn't really engaged on anything. He's just kind of trying to let this fizzle away.
I think, and again, this is purely speculation, but if I don't know Alex Caruso, I've never met him, I've never interacted with him. But the vibe of that entire timeline is like, I want to get engagement. That's what the vibe of that is. I legitimately think like Fezzik puts Purdue moneyline minus 8,000 out there because he thinks it's a good bet and he wants his following to like benefit from that. And people can disagree with me on that. Like, I don't think Fezzik is putting that bet on the timeline for engagement purposes. I legitimately think that's the way he bets. He bets a lot of big favorites where he thinks that there's value in the big favorite. and he's putting that out to the timeline. I think it's apples to oranges, but each of these has to be evaluated independently of one another is kind of the point I'm getting at, because the motivations are completely different. And I would say that Fezzik, relative to Caruso, like Fezzik wants to be respected in the space. You see that with the interactions with other people. I don't think that matters to a guy like Alex Caruso. I don't think he gives two shits whether people respect, as long as they're engaging with him.
And I asked that, but it was asked to me, and as I said it, as they are not comparable. Mm-hmm. But to an outsider, you could see why, like this Fezzik guy, 300 days later, still getting made fun of a bet, and Caruso could just wipes it all off.
Right.
MLB's tough. Caruso found that out. How's Fezzik MLB season going? Anybody know?
The Orioles suck, and that was his huge preseason win total future. So
Over or under?
shout out Fez.
He liked the under.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
up on MLB this year now. He's up $176, 65, 48, 14. I don't know what the breakdown of that is by sides, totals, first 3 innings, whatever else he's playing at this point. But at least the pregame website shows him up on baseball slightly.
All right. Good for him.
Big
We'll
comeback.
keep moving.
Yep.
We'll keep moving. In just a second here, the U.S. Open we saw happened over the weekend. But before we talk about that, a word from our presenting sponsor, Underdog. All right, quick shout out to our friends over at Underdog, because if you've been watching the playoffs but you haven't been using them, then you're missing out on one of the best user experiences in the space. We've tried a lot of different apps over the years, and Underdog just nails it. The interface is clean, fast, and simple, but not in a watered down way. It's intuitive. You log in, you know exactly where to go, and you can build entries in seconds without having to dig through 5 layers of nonsense. It's honestly one of those products where the more you use it, the more you appreciate how well it's built. Whether you're playing casually or taking it seriously, it just works. And you actually want to come back and use it again. We've also heard from a bunch of you, and even a few sharp bettors, who said the same thing. I didn't expect to actually like this. That says a lot. So if you haven't signed up yet, now is the time. Just click the link in the description and use code CIRCLES on sign up, and that'll get you up to $1,000 in bonus credit as a new customer. Again, that is promo code CIRCLES, right with the link below. Check it out and let us know what you think. We're betting you'll be impressed. So the U.S. Open conversations were really dominated by how difficult the course was. I think everybody was expecting it to be difficult for the players, but it turned out probably to be even more difficult, I would say, than maybe people thought it was. We had Jared Smith at Jared Smith Bets, who says, I know U.S. Opens are supposed to be tough, but it has been an incredibly difficult watch at Oakmont this week, and that's coming from someone who loves golf. And the degenerate at the Degen Weekly said, I respectfully disagree with this take. JT getting blasted to smithereens is hilarious. Don't mind seeing guys like Rory and Larry squeal either. And we had Ian McMillan at Ian McBets, who's featured at times on our Forward Progress channel, our NFL channel here at the Hammer, says, I'm going to say something brave and honest. I thought I wanted a major where everyone struggled and it was extremely difficult to break par. I don't know if I still feel that way. From people who watch golf a lot, so I guess we'll start with you here, Geoff. Very avid fan of watching golf. What did you make of players struggling? Was it an enjoyable watch? Was it better or worse than normal?
I enjoyed it. I wanted Terrell Hatton or Hovland to win so badly. Oh, I felt I was in that fight the whole way. Geez, I enjoyed it. I think there was a disconnect in a lot of the complaints between gamblers and casuals. I think a lot of golf bettors had a hard time because it's something hard to model. There's a bit of a wild card element that was raised. And Oakmont in itself was just a hard course to model, and that just made it a less enjoyable maybe betting experience for some. Well, I think a lot of casuals enjoyed seeing a guy hit it 8 feet, seeing them struggle for par. I think that's a big part of it. I'll let the other guys go, but I've got really the origin of the issue in a moment.
Well, like I personally, let me term this, I enjoy hard golf. I like to see guys earn it, right? But I think that there's a line between challenging and chaotic. And I think Oakmont kind of flirted with that line. Like, watching these guys struggle can be fun, right? Because you can relate. You're like, this guy looks like me on the weekend hitting out of the rough, right? It's satisfying to see elite players under pressure grinding hard just to make pars. I don't want to see a winning score that's minus 25 in a PGA event, but sometimes I think the course can become like too tricked out when, greens that won't hold, rough that looks like it was grown in a lab. I think you can get to a point where you're pushing the limits, and then it's not about execution anymore. It's about whether you got the right bounce, whether your lie isn't buried, whether your ball didn't roll 50 feet off a false front. It becomes like more of a glorified lottery. And that's where I don't want to say I check out, because I'm not checking out. I'm still going to watch it. But I feel like there has to be balance, right? You want to punish bad shots, but you don't want to punish all the shots. Like, the best majors to me are the ones where someone shoots between 5 under and 10 under. You know that they've earned every stroke. Oakmont this year, it just didn't feel that way. It felt more like a hazing ritual than a golf tournament, honestly, especially watching the final round with the inclement weather as well. So I get the point. Like, I probably would have enjoyed it a little bit more if it wasn't that hard. That's not to say I didn't watch a ton. I did. But I feel like you start to have a weird luck to skill ratio. And I'd like it to be a little bit more balanced, is all I'm getting at.
This is gonna be a hot take. I don't watch that much golf, but I watch a reasonable amount of golf. I thought the return to play yesterday was my favorite stretch of golf I've ever watched. And I agree with you in theory, Rob, but I didn't feel like, I think the idea that the fairway is where you want to be. And if you're in the rough, it should be very, very punishing. And I thought that was amazing to watch. The things I didn't like, which I agree with you, Rob, and I don't know, is this like common at every, it felt much more pronounced, and Geoff, you would know this better, that like on the fairway, guys were going into divots, and the divots were so deep, and like they couldn't, like that felt like it came into play a lot more at Oakmont than in typical golf. I don't know why, maybe because it was so wet and there were just more divots. But I agree with you, like you should be rewarded for good play and punished for bad play. But because I think to me the worst thing in golf is that the guys who can hit it 320 yards don't really care if they're in the rough. The rough's not very punishing. They just hit the ball as far as possible, don't care about the fairway, and can just hit essentially just as good of a shot from the rough, but are 50 yards closer. So I thought it's awesome. I tweeted yesterday that I think the rough at all golf courses should be like it is at Oakmont, because also it makes golf like it was supposed to be played, in my opinion.
Geoff is getting fired up.
Sorry, last point here. It's also it also like the ball. You don't need the ball roll back if you're going to make the rough very tough. You go. What you got?
Look at what they had to do to get even par, Kirk. They have to roll back the ball. They have to roll back the clubs. The technology that golf has had is ridiculous. You pair it up with the athleticism of these young guys, and their answer is 5.5-inch rough and greens that run out of 15. That's how you save it? Fuck that. Fuck the equipment manufacturer cabal that has gotten us here. Kirk, the club face should not. A 15 handicap wants a forgiving club face to make his 4.5 hours out there more enjoyable.
Yeah.
The best players in the world, the skills, the clubs need to be reined in. The sweet spots need to be reined in. They hit it off the ends. They get away with too much. And that's what yesterday happened. It is such a fine line. And the only way they could get even par is doing what they did. Higher rough is not the answer. It is not. It is not the answer. Did I enjoy yesterday? Yes. Does the USGA make endurance and mental toughness and figuring it the fuck out part of what makes you a USGA national champion? Yes. Different than resort course fucking golf on the PGA Tour. That the manufacturers want you to think we like birdies more. No, we do not. This is golf has lost the plot. History will look back on this era as the steroid equipment era. It is gone. Thank God for someone like Mike Wan, who currently runs the USGA, because he's saying, get in line, I'm rolling this shit back. The PGA Tour, the RNA, you all better get in line. You're going to cry about it, but you're ruining the fucking game. And you've got to look beyond yourselves for a moment. Now, we don't need to bore people with the cost and the time and the expense that having to make these courses longer isn't the answer. Making the rough 5.5 inches isn't the answer. It is actually making hitting the ball in the center of the club face worth something.
Yeah.
And that's what the sport has lost. I enjoyed yesterday, but no, it is not the answer. That's the only way they can achieve even par. And finding the balance between where these courses can line up, they have to walk these edges because it's the only way with this modern equipment, with this modern athlete. Baseball goes to a torpedo bat and people lose their mind. Golf's been doing that every day for 25 fucking years.
Yeah.
It's time to figure it out. And I trust that Mike Wan and the USGA are going to be leaders in this. They say they're going to be leaders in this. And I know this has nothing to do with gambling, but I'm passionate about it.
We could tell, Geoff.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that take at all. Like, I obviously don't know the logistics of making the rough that hard, and I imagine most golf courses can't do that. So I'm happy for but the thing about the ball rollback is like, that to me doesn't fix
all of it.
Yeah, but the equipment
down.
stuff, that makes perfect sense to me.
In totality.
You watch how these 20-year-olds swing today. These 6'4", stocky, like lengthy little fucking kids. Like, dude, they're breaking it. They're breaking it, and it's to marvel at it, but the technology has lost the plot within the sport, and it's ruined the sport.
I think the final round of the U.S. Open was interesting because of how congested the leaderboard was. But from a pure play standpoint, I didn't find it to be... I mean, you can disagree with me.
There was no creativity.
Yes, exactly.
You didn't see any shot making, yes, you had to find the fairway, hit the shots. But there was no creativity. There was only one way to sort of do everything. But to Kirk's original point, you find the fairway, and why can't the best players in the world adapt to what's happening around them? That's what was frustrating. Like, you're getting your ass kicked. Can't you figure out, maybe you try to answer the test with a different, give a different answer than the one you keep trying to do, hitting it 100 yards in front of JJ?
Yeah.
Like, I'd say, pro golfers aren't great at adapting on the fly. We know that much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I also just find golf the sport that I care least about. Actually, I think this in a lot of sports nowadays, basketball as well. Of like, I don't want the play to be the play being as high level as possible, or the players like absolutely dominating the course makes it less fun to me, not more fun.
Agreed. You have. So my whole thing is you have to give the players a challenge. Like, Augusta is challenging, right? The way that it plays. The Masters plays,
but there's times where people dummy Augusta.
Oh, 100%. You have guys that run away for.
Guys have dummied it. If the conditions are right, it gets dummied. DJ,
but you should. But if you dummy that course, that's if you play really well and you win by 5 strokes, you did it on a course where everyone else had a challenge as well, right? And it's not an extreme. It's not. It's almost like the U.S. Open played, where it was rather than players they're navigating the course to not fuck up more so than they're navigating the course to play, make good shots. I don't find that to be super compelling. I like in sports when people have to go for it rather than, I can't go for it here because this is going to turn into a triple bogey instead of a par type of situation. That's my only thing with it. Ultimately, the tournament was fine. I'm not I think people way overblew this of whatever, we played way too hard. Part of that was that there, the names on the leaderboard as well going into the final round weren't exactly quote unquote household names.
It goes both ways, because if like, yes, because we get a wild card winner, which sure, maybe we were due for, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, people could be like, oh, it was so lucky. Like, you know, there's such luck. But if Victor Hovland, let's say, pulls that off yesterday and was like, of course, like the Prince was going to become a king this weekend. Like if Scotty won yesterday, of course, the best player elevated to the moment and answered the, you know, the questions on that golf property. But like I said, I saw a lot of angry golf bettors, but in hindsight, like, you know, Oakmont was going to be a bitch. You could have bet a lot of those top 10 players in the world to miss the cut. You could have made a fortune by saying, like, no, this isn't going to be a normal situation for Bryson or for Ludwig or JT, whatever. The list can go on of guys who didn't see the weekend.
Right.
Well, the frustration that Geoff has showcased here was shared by some of the golfers actually participating in the event, which we have some examples of here in our next segment. This kind of started with this one here from Tron Carter at Tron Carter NLU, who said, multiple sources confirming that the blow pig really got after it in the Oakmont locker room, super classy, desecrating one of the most historic spots in golf, and on the heels of his behavior at Quail Hollow. Probably time to put him in the cooler for a few months. And if I'm not mistaken, blow pig is in reference to Wyndham Clark because he blows as a golfer and has a pig of an attitude. Is that correct?
I don't know the origin story. Other than that, I know that is associated with.
Okay.
Wyndham Clark.
Well, as you see, if you are looking at it here, but yeah, the locker room looks like he got after it with one of his irons, I'd say, breaking a couple of the doors, and it's also spilled to Rory. But sorry, first some comments on this one here. We have Steffi Smalls who said there is the heat of the moment, and there is returning all the way to the clubhouse and doing this like a twat. And then Kenny Kim at Kendo VT said, this is embarrassing, bad look for Wyndham Clark. He should be punished with a fine or suspension. I can't really talk too much shit though, because in my younger days, I had a temper and it took age and experience to mitigate it. Hopefully the embarrassment is a learning tool for him. And we also had Rory McIlroy showing a little bit of frustration on the course. Use Golf Facts says, Rory, quote, I don't need to answer for my actions, unquote. McIlroy back at it again. And then we had Lou Stagner said, immediate DQ, there's no place for this. And it was both in videos of McIlroy breaking the tee marker on the side after a poor drive. So should there be punishment for something like this, Rob? Like for Wyndham Clark, should there be something put against him here?
I think you can argue that there should be, especially when you're like affecting the clubhouse. There's emotions in sports, right? We're not going to deny that. You want players to be emotional, but whatever's happening, I think on tour right now is kind of going a little bit too far. Like smashing lockers in the clubhouse, blowing up tee boxes. I saw the clip of John Rahm like yelling "fuck" on after missing like a 12-yard putt or whatever. It's no longer isolated incidents anymore. Like this is becoming the norm. And honestly, I don't think it's a great look. I don't want to be like the soft, the soft lib guy here or whatever, but I get being frustrated. I've missed putts and I wanted to break something too. But you know what? I didn't, because I'm an adult. And I understand that these guys are playing at the highest level of the sport. They're on camera though. Kids are watching, brands are watching. You want to show emotion? Great, show emotion. Don't act like you're a 3-year-old kid running around at Chuck E. Cheese. Like there seems to be a level of entitlement nowadays. When Rory refuses to speak to the media like he's above all accountability, that rubs me the wrong way. You don't get to act like a spoiled brat on the course and then duck right afterwards. I love the sport. I want it to grow. But this trend of pro golfers behaving like unhinged toddlers, I don't think is helping. And honestly, I'm just kind of sick of it at this point. I really am. Like, it's just so childish in my opinion. In terms of like suspensions, I think like if you want to dial it back, that's naturally the course of action you have to take at some point or another. There have to be consequences for the actions in order for the actions to change. But I definitely think it's gone overboard now. I mean, it's to the point now where these guys look like babies out there.
Anything to add from you guys here? Would you want to see a suspension being handed out?
I can go. Yeah, I've got a bad temper, if I'm being totally honest. Definitely something I've grown out of, but still not the best. Yeah, it's a bad look. Do I care? I honestly like watching it. Like when, who was the guy yesterday, Haddon, who is losing his mind on the course. Like, I love watching that. That's fun to me. I can clearly see why they wouldn't want that. The smashing the lockers is like really a bad look. Do I think they should be suspended? I don't know. I don't have that strong of a take.
I'd say a fine probably works in this instance.
But what are you going to find that's going to make a difference to any of these guys?
I'm stretching because I'm getting ready. You put me on the clock because I'll handle these one by one.
All right, tap in.
Shame on Wyndham Clark. Firstly, you guys aren't familiar of this. Oakmont Country Club is historic ground. I don't really care that much, but all week part of the broadcast was like, look at our like 150-year-old locker room. They have benches that are from the 1800s, Kirk. They're like the greatest names in golf. They're metal spike marks still. We don't renovate this place. Their metal spike marks are still here. Okay, that was part of the narrative of the week. And then to see Wyndham Clark do that, a past U.S. Open champion, disgusting. Suspension, fine, banned for life from Oakmont.
I was going to say
I love that.
No, stop. This is not Major League Baseball. This is not your home dugout. This is not your home clubhouse. You are a visitor. Some member cleared out his fucking locker for you to get that thing. You're like in someone else's home. Literally. Disgusting. Club toss, I'm not a fan of it, but if I was going to toss his club not near anyone and that like is his like 3-second release and then he's fine, and I'd rather you toss your club than go inside and do that.
Yeah. Which
is just banned. Like next US Open, 8 years, Wyndham Clark, don't even bother qualifying. You're not coming. You're not coming. Okay? Done, sealed, delivered. I had a joke last week about Shane Lowry and his behavior. That we could play bingo with Shane Lowry at the majors. That he will guarantee do multiple things. Berate a volunteer. Berate a marshal. Be rude to the media. Whip around a microphone. All of the, like, all check. The guy passed with flying colors, even picked up a ball without marking it. If Shane Lowry searched his name on Twitter last week, he'd see something I wrote that went pretty viral. He wouldn't even have the guts to respond because of the stories that have flown into my DMs about this guy berating an old lady needing an Olympic piss test last summer. Okay? Some of these guys are gross. As for Rory, man the fuck up.
Yeah.
Rory won the Masters and he woke up the next day and like he thought he's not feeling how he thought he would feel. And he's got a pickle up his ass right now that is totally unacceptable. He has an incredible run to make the cut on Friday, doesn't even want to talk to the media.
Yeah.
Because of like a driver infraction at the PGA, which anyone who has half a clue about golf knows that is the biggest nothing burger here. Scotty even had when he won the tournament. Like, something is bothering Rory. He's moving back from Florida to Europe. Maybe it's back on the home front, but he has got a pickle up his ass right now that is so uncalled for. And, you know, I joke, I'm pathetic. I'll make fun of myself. I say this again this morning. I'll say it again. It's like, if the Chargers win the Super Bowl, I'll wake up the next morning. I'll have to get the kids to school. I'll have to, you know, get yelled at for spending $2,000 on merch. And I'm like, I really thought life would be different this morning. But it's not. Yeah. And Rory is dealing with like, I thought so I was supposed to feel something and maybe I'm not. But how he's acting is pathetic.
Yep. I'm with you there. Entitled, well man. Entitled. Well, really well said. Yep.
I think the examples of entitlement, like in other sports, it's like in the NBA, a superstar is going to complain more aggressively about not getting a foul call compared to a lesser player. Even like a basic example would be like there's studies on the more expensive the car at a stop sign, the less likely that car is to actually stop to let you cross if you're kind of in like the 50-50 range. Yeah. It's kind of that level of entitlement there. So,
and Rory, because he's been doing, Rob, he is baiting the tour. He is baiting the tour to put in a policy where he has to speak. The way he's handling this, and he's like flaunting, because it's not like they don't have a CBA that says you have to meet with the media.
Right.
The way like a quarterback might have to, and it's happened a bit. And I don't know what the exact parameters would be, but Rory is like flaunting in their face. You know, much like I gave Morikawa a hard time for earlier this year, and then he came back crying, and his game's gone to shit. I actually think he's going to win the Travelers. There's my tip. But But yeah, Rory, he's flaunting the tour to make a rule. Like, he's daring them at this point with his behavior as it pertains to the media. And I give him a bit of grace because he took a lot of arrows, right? He stood up in the live shit. We've probably gone too long on this, and he got, some lashes that he probably didn't deserve for putting his neck out there. So he's a little more guarded, but he's been a big, big baby. Since everything in life was supposed to have fallen into place, he's gone to baby mode, which is awkward.
If he doesn't win the Travelers, though, I do expect you, Geoff, to post that to your Twitter timeline. Let people know when you recap the day instead of hiding it like other people do.
Oh, my pics will be posted. I won't be deleting my card.
Well, somebody else who had a bad look at their place of work surfaced in the NBA Finals with Stephen A. Smith. He got caught playing solitaire on his phone while in attendance at the NBA Finals. Crazy to see. It was shared by @BleedBlue1986 Kimberly, who said, "How can you have all these opinions while you're playing solitaire instead of watching the game?" And look, it's just a photo. Could be an isolated incident. Could be when the game wasn't on. Stephen A. himself said, "Yep, that's me. Who would have thought I can multitask, especially during timeouts? Hope y'all are enjoying the NBA Finals." This is going to Game 7 now, peeps, so just trying to deflect away from it. But we had some more evidence. Trenton at Rent Free Grizzly shared a video from Snapchat of somebody who had a video of Stephen A. playing solitaire while the game was happening. It was in action, running up and down the court. He's playing solitaire on his phone, so caught in the lie. And then he tried to make light of the situation again, posted a screenshot of himself playing solitaire with, I guess, him watching highlights on the bottom. I don't really know. I wanted to ask a question, and maybe not like the greatest panel to answer this, but like, what would be an example in your job where you are at something the magnitude of the NBA Finals of you playing solitaire? So comment down below what your job is and what you would have to be doing of such importance where that would be comparable to Stephen A. Smith playing solitaire in the NBA Finals. I guess for me, it would be like...
Jacob, you watch darts during live shows, man. Like, you do this.
But I'm like, I'm fully
caught
locked
you in the act of...
It's just on the side. I'm not like, if I'm like this in my phone, I think that's different. And if it's not impacting performance, I mean, if it is, you can let me know.
Well, I mean, look, the guy missed a defensive possession to make a couple moves on his solitaire and everyone's going nuts. Like, people do this all the time. I mean, it's hilarious. It's honestly hilarious, but it's also a reflection of the world we live in. Like, everything you do is being watched. Especially when you've made a career out of being Stephen A. Smith and you're that well known. Like, it's not a big deal at all. We've all zoned out during shows before. I've scrolled through Twitter during meetings. It happens. But when you're Stephen A. Smith and you're front and center at the finals and you've tried to build a brand around being like Mr. Hot Take, you probably want to avoid being caught playing fucking games on your phone mid-possession. And that's where we're at right now. It's not a big deal, but it is because of who he is. Right? At the end of the day, it's the issue's not solitaire, it's the hypocrisy. You can't scream about players not showing up for big moments in games, and then you're playing solitaire on press row. You can't do it. You're the face of ESPN's hot take economy. The bar is higher. It's not the circle back bar where, Geoff is firing golf bets during the show and Jacob's watching darts. This is completely different. So it's hilarious. He shouldn't have done it. And because there's a certain standard associated with his job, it's a big deal, but really it's nothing. Like, it's a nothing burger. How many times have we been at sporting events before, even if it's not our job, and you be on your phone, you take a call, you respond to a text. There's times where you're distracted. This is just the reality of life.
I don't agree. Like, I don't think it's it didn't surprise me when I saw the picture. It was exactly what I would expect Stephen A. Smith to do. But to me, it just is the perfect encapsulation of the people who talk about sports nowadays truly don't care. Like, you're talking about it like recording, circle back, or you're sitting at your desk job. Like, you're at the NBA Finals. Like, okay, I'm sure he's been to a ton of events. I get it. It's probably oversaturated, but like, you would still think you like basketball enough to be watching the games during a massive, like, the game in the NBA Finals, but it didn't surprise me. But it just, the people who talk about sports nowadays just don't care, and it's sad.
But Kurt, we're acting like him missing like a possession or two is going to affect his ability to break down the game. It's not.
But like, if I'm watching a sporting event with the intention of like giving analysis on it, I'm not playing a game on my phone. Like, I'm locked in. Fine, yeah. If I'm sitting on the couch and watching a game casually, I'll play the watermelon game on my phone all the time. But like, it is literally his job to give analysis. And
that's the issue.
Great game. Great game.
The watermelon. Okay, but Kirk, there's a difference too, right? Like, people are not understanding if me and you were gonna break down I don't know, whatever, football game, basketball game, whatever, we take it seriously because we want to give real analysis. Stephen A. Smith is not taking this seriously. He is a hot take artist. He is just what he is going to figure out some way to spin this for engagement. The actual breakdowns of the plays don't matter, right? Like, that's what I'm getting at. His job does not require him to be in tune on every possession because he's just got to spit some absurd hot take, and that's what he's getting paid for. He's not really getting paid to be an analyst.
Totally agree. And that's why I say it's not surprising, but it's just funny to see it so vividly of he's actually not even watching the game.
Right.
Well, you don't see my medical degree on the wall, but I think this is just, he's probably got undiagnosed ADHD.
Yeah, could be.
I mean, that's just the truth of it. If you know his background, the schooling, like, I'm certainly there was no time in his parents' life to have that looked at or diagnosed, and seems like he's way too prideful of a successful older man to even care to probably get that diagnosed. But listen, I grew up like I assure you I had it, and my mom was like too proud to admit anything could be wrong with her great Jeffrey. So it's possible to you don't get it, that you find out later in life that you've been dealing with that. Not like it's a hardship or anything, but my friend's joke is we'll all be out together, and then you'll see like Fienberg will be wandering off alone or something, looking at his phone for 10 minutes, coming back. Pizzola's probably been there enough with me, but yeah, just undiagnosed ADHD. That's my diagnosis here.
I just wanted to point out, this is the NBA Final. This is like the pinnacle of his job coverage, right? So it's like, it's one thing, I have darts on my second screen during a show. Geoff's betting golf during the show. But let's say I'm on the live Circle Back panel at Bet Bash. My complete undivided attention is on the panel. It is not going to be doing something else. Because that is probably, like, could we say that is my pinnacle as role of producer, whatever, on this show. I think that's where I have the bigger issue. You are literally at the NBA Finals, and yes, he's been to a lot of these, but this isn't like just replying to a text. This isn't like responding to an email. This is a conscious decision. I'm bored. I'm playing solitaire instead of watching this game.
My diagnosis is actually not as conscious as you think. It's
sure.
That's where
if you want to go that route.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen, I've been to hockey playoff games before where, they have the CBC panel that's sitting in like the 200 level type of thing.
Yeah.
They're just talking to people during the game. Like, people are interacting with them. They're not paying you. I mean, I think like it's not a prerequisite to watch every play of every game to comment on it. But also I would push back with the Stephen A. Smith stuff because like it's not actually his job. He's not like a JJ Redick type of analyst who's breaking down X's and O's. He is just going to look at a box score afterwards and be like, well, Halliburton went 4 for 17. He fucking failed his team in this game, and he's just going to put it out there. It's not that he is being paid to generate engagement. He is an engagement baiter. So listen, at the end of the day, I don't know what people really expect from him. And it's not like he's on his, I'm not aware that he was on his phone for the entirety of the game or whatever. I think ADHD, certainly possible. I don't know if Dr. Jeffrey Fienberg nailed that or not.
Any doctors in the comments, let us know.
To do that, to like Jacob's point, like to do that, it almost has to be like an out of body experience to be like at the ESPN studio area watching the NBA finals. Like it almost has to be something your mind didn't even like acknowledge. You just got bored. Maybe there was maybe the footage of him doing it during the game was like 20 seconds out of a timeout. It's like, oh shit. Like, I don't mean to defend. Only to Rob's point is all he needs is an overall hot take, and he needs to know what happened in the tentpole moments of the game.
With that said, you're still allowed to roast it. Everyone is within their right to roast him. He brings that on himself. You do that in a public light at a game where eyes are on you, you deserve the repercussions. I'm just saying, in my opinion, I think it's just like a big nothing. I think it's hysterical more than anything else. It's not like, oh, gotta take this guy off air. He can't watch it. Like, no, like that's just way overboard.
But even it's better than someone who would ignore it with that profile. Like, like I'm sure he did a segment on his podcast about it. Like he's not
because he wants the engagement, Geoff.
At his own expense.
Why is he tweeting the picture of it? Because he's welcoming the engagement. This is good for him. It's growing. It's growing the brand even more. It's a weird world we live in.
Good for him. When you act like you're holier than thou about basketball or certain players, I don't think it's a great look for him, to be honest. Like that's not a hot take.
Every shit take he has for the rest of his life, it'll just be like were you playing solitaire while you're watching?
Guys, the currency in this space nowadays is very different. They do not want to be the most respected person in the space.
My sister's wedding.
It's different. Stephen A. Smith is not striving to be a respected analyst. He is striving to generate clicks, and he is doing that. That's the difference. Mission accomplished.
That wasn't like his thought process when he pulled
up solitaire. It wasn't, but as soon as it happened, he didn't hide from it. He didn't duck it. He leaned into it even more because he knew.
He did. I mean, he was trying to duck it. He said, he said, I was during a timeout. He was trying to hide it.
Well, he definitely is fibbing there for sure. But I'm telling you, like posting a solitaire picture to his profile afterwards.
Yeah, after that, yeah. Once you got found out. All right, we're going to keep moving with the show here. Before we do, we're going to talk about Kirk's Hammer newsletter that's coming out every week. We're getting some great feedback on it. Kirk, why don't you tell us about the most recent article that's come out, because it was a pretty good one.
Yeah, so the last one I did was about myth in sports betting, and I think most people think parlays are evil, and I went in on why that's actually totally not true, and if you're winning better, you should probably be parlaying more.
I feel like there's a bell curve where like the start of the bell curve is like you like parlays, then you get smart and you think parlays are evil. Now you're in like it's almost like a double myth where parlays are good again.
It's the Dunning-Kruger or like that meme of like the idiot and then smart person on the other side and then the guy at the top.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think parlays are something that people, and it was funny because someone actually tweeted a tweet of mine at me from 2022 talking about how bad parlays were, and I didn't know that existed, so I was glad that I saw that tweet. But yeah, that and many more myths in the latest Kirk's Hammer.
If you want to subscribe to Kirk's Hammer, please go to the link that is in the description. Again, new article comes out every single week with that newsletter. You're going to want to tune in to get more great content just like that. Let's keep moving with the show now. We're going to be reading your comments. First one comes from Charlie Bonds, who says, maybe over the summer, the A team can play the B team in a round of golf for some bonus content. So Friday crew against the Tuesday crew in golf. First of all, who's going to win that one, do you guys think?
That's a good question. I assume we're going to win. This group is going to win.
I kind of suck. I imagine you guys are decent. There's no way those guys can golf.
I don't know. I don't know for certain with that group. I mean, I golfed with Jacob a few weeks back. I played pretty well. He can attest to that. I think I'm probably the best of the... I've never seen Kanish play. I don't know Flup play. I have no idea, really. I love this idea, by the way. Full
Even
disclosure.
If it's not golf, something else.
We had planned to do something like that this summer, and it just kind of fell through for some logistical reasons. Let's put it at that. I do love YouTube golf content. It doesn't matter if I like the people or not. I can go down a rabbit hole of watching YouTube golf content. As long as there's some personality there, they could be the worst golfer on the planet and I'll watch. So I love this idea and I would like to go forward with it at some point in time.
I'd like to see something like that happen as well. Next comment comes from @KingpinPicks. Says, completely worthless to ever post your real identity online. What happened to Rob is a perfect example of why. So I remember this coming up a bit with Nadu on the Friday show where he doesn't really respect people who remain anonymous on Twitter. But like there is a reason for it as well, which we did convey in that show. But Rob, why don't you kind of go through it because you're referenced directly here.
Well, I mean, the reality is I'm public facing because when I was in my early 20s, I worked at a radio station with Geoff and we were just like personalities. So I never thought about creating a Twitter account that was anonymous or some egg or something like that. If I could go back and do it all over again, I think there's a lot of reasons to be anonymous in the space, especially if you're just a bettor, first and foremost. You don't need people knowing your real information. It really doesn't benefit you in any way. So I can see both sides of it. Ultimately, when you are public facing and you're operating under your real name, you open yourself up, I think, to more criticism. It feels more real because people know who you are. But I mean, I kind of regret it. Like if I could have a do-over again, I would just have been an anonymous person on Twitter.
Yeah. People like to have like the most extreme takes about a lot of things. Like it's like this guy's comment, there's absolutely no reason to do this. And like Nadu and that crew are like, if you don't have your name online, you are a fraud, scammer, blah, 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 blah. Like it's just clearly in between. Yes. If it's your name, obviously anyone you work with has a bit of a better feeling of trust because they know it's actually you and it's harder to just run off. But also, like, when I was just saying my opinion on the poker scandal, multiple people said they wanted to, like, kick my ass. I don't really want that. Like, so, yeah, there's clearly benefits to both. Both sides are just, like, way overstating how cut and dry it is, which is classic.
Exactly.
It is. I think it's fair both ways. But, like for somebody to think you lose a bit of credibility by not sharing who you actually are, but there are reasons for it, as you guys mentioned here. Last one comes from @RickyPucks, who says, when Geoff is explaining the characters in the sports book, quote, lowest common denominators in action, the most depressing looking human beings, end quote, I thought he was going to follow up with, quote, at the Starbucks screaming about the high prices. Did you see that comparison potentially coming up there, Geoff?
I didn't see it. I didn't even know this was in. I didn't see this was in the show. That's two now. Okay.
2 references. That wasn't even in the script. It happens, man.
Yeah.
I don't know how it happens every week, but it does.
Yeah.
Don't worry. That we got someone has taken the torch from Fezzik about yelling at fast food conglomerates. So we'll get there.
That's coming up a little bit later in the show, so make sure you stick around for that. But next section here, we're bringing Return Fire back to the Tuesday show, and I actually, I don't know why, but I'm gonna guess it's Rob who has wanted to bring this up. Rob, Return the Fire.
I got a couple things from the Friday show that really chapped my ass that I want to talk about here.
Chat my ass.
Nadu. Love Nadu. But he said 5 days in Vegas is the perfect trip. That's wild, man.
That got a rise out of the group chat. I agreed, by the way. I'll take the heat too.
Unless your idea of a great trip is coming home dehydrated, broke, and on the full verge of like a mental breakdown, 5 days in Vegas is way too much. Like, Vegas isn't real life. Time doesn't exist. Like, you start out your night of like, oh, I'll grab a drink and I'll hit the tables, and it turns into you eating breakfast at the roulette wheel with a guy in like a wedding tux sleeping next to you. Like, nothing makes sense when you're there. After 3 days, I don't know about you guys, my body like starts revolting. My brain turns to mush. I don't know how you can do that. Like, unless you're doing clean living, Vegas, that's different. Like, no gambling, no partying, you're in bed at a reasonable time, then sure. But 5 days, man. Like, 3 to me is a sweet spot. I do 5 days for Bet Bash. I come home like I've been there for 5 months. Like, you know how long it takes me to get back on track? That one was not the best take, in my opinion. But then Kanish goes after Jacob last week for missing some context in teeing up a topic. And look, I get it. You know, when something's missing from a setup, could throw the segment off a little bit. But let's not pretend here that Uncle K, Joey Kanish, is some model of preparedness for these shows. Like, the guy is late to every recording. If we had
Confirmed.
a script formatted like a children's book with pictures and bolded key points, he still wouldn't read it. Like, half the time, he's reacting to a tweet live on air like it's breaking news. He has no idea what's even in the show. So yes, Jacob, you could have done better for that. But Kanish, like, let's not act like you're walking in with like a briefcase and a research packet. Like, you are the last person that can talk about this stuff. So I was listening to both these things on the Friday show. I'm like, I got to make note of this. Like, got to make some sort of response to it. Kanish calling out people for not being prepared. Oh my God. Like, I don't think we could ever, like, I've never heard anything more hypocritical.
I don't think he's been on time to one single recording. We usually average wait time is like 3 to 5 minutes, but it can get to like 10 plus sometimes. We're waiting for him.
Also, like, the thing that he got on you for was, like, it wasn't a very public piece of information. Like, the assumption that you just knew that the guy had a hedge at Caesars. Like, Nadeau, I think, said that, but he was like, oh yeah, he said it, but he wants to keep it under wraps. Like, it wasn't some widely known thing. And then he couldn't shut up about it. But yeah, I think best Vegas trip to me is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, fly out Sunday. But honestly, you want to keep the Thursday night like just like a more chill gambling night than going hard. But 5 days, I'll give Nadeau credit. Acceptable if it's like a significant other trip where you're not like going out and partying and gambling.
That's what I did, which is why I thought 4 nights was appropriate.
Because you have some self-respect, Jacob. Like, the rest of us cannot control ourselves.
But
Vegas.
the thing,
like,
I think
I
I think I can lose control and I can still wake up and go about my day, whereas you have like 3 beers and you're done for the day.
Well, no, it's not that. It's like day 3 of the trip. You know, you end up at a cabana. You're talking to some guy, Daryl from Scottsdale, who's like, "You want to do mushrooms?" And you're like, you know, I guess I'm here. Might as well. Like, yeah, I don't know. You're in a different world, is what I'm getting at. Like, relative to, you know, I go from Toronto to New York. I live like I'm in Toronto. Like, I just go through the motions. It's like I'm gonna go eat. Vegas is just different. It's built different.
It's Disney World on steroids.
Yeah, and the reason that, even though I just defended Nadeau, now I'm kind of taking it back, is like, if you're doing that, just don't go to Vegas. Like, go somewhere that's better with your significant other, unless you're doing like the Grand Canyon and stuff. Like, yeah, 5 days is just egregious.
I really liked Vegas. I mean, there's more stuff. Like, obviously, drinking and gambling is the main component, but there's lots of other stuff to do that don't involve either of those things.
Yeah, you could go watch
Not
Thunder
really.
Down Under.
I'm at the point I can't even maybe make it to 3 days. Like, I don't give a shit when your like wife calls me or you want to get together. Like, you're going to the bar because it's your birthday. Like, I don't give a shit. I don't care. But when I'm in Vegas, I'm like an NBA player, Kirk, who's like fouling out in like 6 minutes. Yeah. Like, I am like just 6 minute, like a day and a half of fury, and then I'm dead and I'm ready to leave.
Yep, Jeff's Zach Eagle when he goes to Vegas.
Yep. All right, we're going to bring back that topic we just mentioned, which I was apparently unprepared for, perhaps more prepared this time. So just to go back to the post that we did share on the Friday show, where Parlay Bay was talking about this DraftKings parlay, where this bettor had $13 down to win $270,000. He needs the Thunder and Oilers to win their respective championships in order to win his bet. Oilers and Thunder did win their Game 4s after this happened, but since then the Oilers have lost Game 5. But she said, I would have taken the $100,000 cash out offer when it was offered. People saying it's a huge difference between 100K and 270K. The difference between 0 and 100K feels way worse. And the cash out at this point of the post went down to 60K. But Jonah noted here at stakes_royale says, you would have never been offered 100K because you would have taken 5K a month ago. We all know how your demographic thinks. I believe demographic was supposed to mean casual bettor. It was not perceived that way because a lot of people went at them. And the defense was the demographic was referring to casual sports bettors. Why does everyone have to make it about race? Other people made it about gender as well. And then Charlie Butler at Charlie_QB said, quote, pro bettor with 4,500 followers versus casual bettor with 100,000 followers. Wonder who does the better job. Pretty classless for you to try to tear someone down in your, quote, same field. No wonder only 4,500 follow you. And then Jordan Alexander at Jordan Rules TSP says, we live in a world where people think follower count represents being good at something. This is why I kept saying Alpha is the worst possible thing to happen to the space because he platforms people like this to try and extract clicks and views. Kirk, does 2 followers equate to success in sports betting?
So many topics in this 3-slide segment. No, obviously not. That's like one of the most egregious takes I've ever seen. But going back to earlier in the show, clearly there are people who think this way and would think Alex Caruso is, the best gambler in the world because of that. So yeah, that's just an insane thing to say. And I hate to give credit to Flup, but he made this point. And the guy who said demographics as well was making the same point as well. Like, people are like, oh, I would have cashed out at 100K. It's like, these people act like they're oracles. It's like, oh, well, I would have just known that this team was going to win and then this team was going to lose and I would have taken the 100K. It's like, okay, but yeah, well, would you have cashed out at 5K? Would you have cashed out at 10K?
Right.
You probably never would have gotten it to 100K. So it's just such a ridiculous, like, Monday morning quarterback say, oh, I would have just cashed out the 100K. It would be so easy. Like, that's just a ridiculous take. I do agree that, like, money isn't perfectly linear of like 0 to 100 can be a lot greater than 100 to 200, but just the arrogance to say, oh, I would have just cashed out at 100K is really frustrating to me.
Yeah. I mean, someone saying you only have 4,500 followers, so your opinion is irrelevant. That basically tells you everything you need to know about where the betting content space is right now. Like, that's like going to a poker pro and telling them you must suck because I don't see you on YouTube. Like, you don't have a YouTube channel. And nowadays, so many people measure reach and not intelligence. I don't know that Jonah guy. I went through his profile. It looks like he's an NHL originator who bets seriously. I don't know for sure. Parlay Bay is a content creator who like makes betting lifestyle posts and public picks. Like, those aren't in the same lane, right? Like, they're not even on the same highway. Like, calling them in the same field is insane. It's like saying a doctor and a person who gives nutrition advice on TikTok are both in healthcare. Like, it's insulting to the person who actually knows what they're doing. You want to support casual content creators? Sure. But don't confuse entertainment with credibility in the space. Like, one of these people is hoping for likes. The other one is playing for their livelihood. It's a very big difference. And, man, those ones really get me going nowadays where it's like, wow, you would have way more followers if you're such a sophisticated bettor. It's like, well, that's actually not how it works.
There was a bit more to this story that kind of built from Rishi Betts here, who was talking about this plus EV cash out because it was on the same story here. And it was in reference to the bettor who had the big parlay cashing out. And apparently it was a plus EV cash out as demonstrated by Thunder series winner and Oilers series winner and playing that against the parlay. And Rishi Betts said, LMAO, DK is offering a plus EV cash out here because of the PR. This is insane. He could win even more by cashing out and rebetting.
Used hashtag circle back at least.
Yeah. I'm not sure he's right here, though. Are we sure he's correct here?
Well, okay. The math is in the like the math is wrong on this.
Yes.
He didn't do the proper math. But like there still is a very broader conversation to be had here, whether or not his cash out calculation was correct, right? And I think that, like, let's say DraftKings was to offer a better cash out for public relations, right? That wouldn't be anything new. Like, sportsbooks have always offered different experiences to different users, right? I can't get the same bets that one of my friends can. We have different limits. Sometimes we have different odds boosts. Sometimes completely different markets that we can even bet into at the same sportsbook. Like, that's the standard in the industry. To me, cash outs are no different. If a guy goes viral with a parlay and DraftKings wants to say, hey, we don't want to look bad, let's offer him a good cash out, I don't see a problem with that. Like, that's just an extension of what the sportsbook space is nowadays. And even then, like, most bettors won't even know what a good or bad cash out offer looks like. It's not like a lot of people can parse this anyways. But at the end of the day, for me, guys, like, the system isn't built to be fair right now. It's built to be efficient for the sportsbook right now. Blame regulators. Sportsbooks can do whatever they want under the confines of the regulatory bodies. And if someone was to get a better cash out offer, I mean, I can see if I got a worse offer being upset about that. But hey, like, that's what the space is nowadays. This shouldn't come as a shock to anyone that sportsbooks are capable of even doing things like this.
Is this even a plus EV cash out? Because I don't know what the cash out number exactly would be right now. But
I did the math on this in real time, and Rishi made a miscalculation here.
I don't think Rishi has included the $108,000 of the original stake, which is included in the return.
Correct.
Also, if you're like hedging against it with a parlay, both of them have to win. This bet can lose with one of the Thunder winning and the Oilers losing.
Yes, correct. There's a lot of issues with the tweet in of itself, but it seems like his main issue would have been that this person is getting a better cash out offer for PR. And I guess on a human moral ethics level, it's fair to have that complaint. But if we're just judging this based on what we know about the sports betting space, first of all, it's not shocking. And second of all, if the operator can do that within the regulations that are laid out for them, then they can do whatever the hell they want. And if they want good PR by offering a good cash out, then by all means, go for it. Like, we all have different products now anyways.
Yeah, not to go too tinfoil hat here, but like, I'm not sure how real any of this is, to be honest. I think the original bet was probably real and he has gotten here, but like, it would not surprise me at all if DK was like paying him right now, or even told him like, if you want to cash out, just don't click it on the app and we can like negotiate it behind the scenes. Like, all of that seems plausible to me because they're using him as a marketing tool. If the kid has any sense, he should be getting something out of that as well. So yeah, I just like, this all is kind of like semi-reality to me.
Yeah, and that's a great point by Kirk. Like, we don't have all the details to judge any of this cash out. Obviously, Jacob, you didn't do your preparation before last show to understand that he already cashed out $50K or something like that at Caesars, made a different bet. Like, we don't have all the pieces of the puzzle in a lot of these instances, but I don't know. I mean, I think Rishi is going to be disappointed because he probably wanted me to say, well, this is like abhorrent behavior that someone could get a better cash out offer, but it's, I don't know, it's like just very much within the confines of what sports betting is nowadays.
Absolutely. All right, final segment here, the chopping block. Quite a few goodies saved up here. A lot of the stuff in the chopping block this week would have warranted, I think, full segments in other weeks, but a loaded episode. So we got some good stuff here. If you've enjoyed the episode so far, please make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. Just got word that as we're recording, we have officially hit 19,000 subscribers on the channel. We want to pump ourselves up to 20K. We'll celebrate, but we want to keep on moving forwards as well. First thing up on the chopping block, Rafael Devers traded away from the Boston Red Sox. Full trade between the two was Rafael Devers getting sent to the San Francisco Giants in exchange for Jordan Hicks, Kyle Harrison, James Tibbs, and Jose Bello. We have the American the AL East standings here, which showcases the Red Sox have been pretty good lately. They've won 8 of their last 10. They just swept the Yankees right before making this trade. They are 6.5 games back now of the lead in the AL East, despite the fact that they are 4th in the division. So the Red Sox were on the way up. And then they make this trade here. And people were not happy about it. Dave Portnoy at Stool Presidente said, I woke up still mad about the Devers trade. If you're trying to win, you just don't trade your best hitter for nothing in the middle of the season. John Henry and LeBron have turned the Red Sox into the Oakland A's with fancy hubcaps. Nick Castles at Nick C Radio says, trading Devers just as a fan started to care about this team again is the most Red Sox trade of all time. Pete Blackburn said, it's not the concept of a Devers trade that's so infuriating. It's the timing and the repeated willingness to trade a $100 bill for a handful of $10 bills and then finding any way to spin it as something else. Zanny DeVito at Trevor's tweet says, if you defend the Devers trade in any fashion, you should not be allowed to vote, write, read, think for yourself, or do anything without adult supervision. You are why we are turning into idiocracy. So I'm not the biggest baseball follower. Is anybody capable here of commenting on how bad, how good of a trade this was with like more of like level thinking? To my knowledge, this is not a very good trade, but can anyone make sense to it?
But you don't have to evaluate whether or not it was a good trade. Like for me, the beauty in this as a Blue Jays fan and a hater of Boston sports is how the Boston market is reacting to the trade.
that is
because
nice.
They have finally started to care this year. The team has some momentum, and then boom, like they ship a great hitter out, and people are like Portnoy spiraling. Red Sox Twitter is imploding. I gotta say, I fucking love seeing that. I love that. When a rival fan base turns on their own team, there's no better entertainment than that. Like that is top tier entertainment. You don't even need to care about the details of the trade. You just pull up a chair, you scroll the replies, you watch the chaos unfold. This is like a vibes killer for the city of Boston, which personally, I know some people who live in Boston. I'll consider them friends. But that city has won way too much over the last couple decades. And I like seeing this. So I don't care if it's a good trade for them or not. As long as the fans think it's terrible, I can revel in that.
Crying Boston sports fan. Kind of just with Pizzola. Like, fuck them. They want everything. That comes from a place of jealousy. But fuck you guys. So I don't give a shit. I've been following this Devers stuff all year. It's pretty interesting. Right? They signed Bregman late. They bump him. They have an injury at first base. He like refuses to play first base. So it obviously was a shit show behind the scenes. That being said, this was a 10-year deal. Like we could have looked back on this in like 8 months, Red Sox fans, and like, remember when like Devers and the organization were in this like squabble? Like the deal was so long that they didn't feel that they could fix this thing at any point. Like, I don't want to poo-poo a season, but who cares if the season gets lost? Like there's so many more seasons. He is one of the best hitters in baseball. They've never even, they do have some prospects now where fans are like, finally they're still not over Mookie Betts. Yeah. They're getting some good prospects now. Yeah, but it's been very entertaining. I'm sad to see it end. I'm just shocked that they didn't see any pathway forward with this long left on the contract.
I'm also enjoying the Boston sports discourse.
Love the meltdown. How can you not?
Very nice to see.
Yeah,
it's the entitlement. It's like the
sure.
It's like the Rory McIlroy conversation that we had.
Like nickel and diming for a few years, which is kind of totally unacceptable. As John Henry's out there jerking off some soccer teams, a hockey team. So I get why Red Sox faithful are like, what the fuck, man?
Well, if this was your team, you would, like, if it was my team, I would have a meltdown too. I would be melting with all these people. But for me, having seen this city celebrate so many great teams and wins over the years, it is refreshing to see them up in arms about the way that one of their franchises is headed. That's all I'm saying.
And I think how the fan base, like literally they never won before John Henry. Then they won like, 3 or 4 World Series in a 20-year window. And the owner gets no There's like no equity from the fan base after doing that to be like, I'm just going to like, we're going to be more of an analytical, like we're going to change up our operation. We see being a little over 500 gets you in the playoffs, and it's sort of a crapshoot from there. And there's just no grace at all. Like when they last win a World Series, like 7 years ago, like again, that they're angry. We still think they're spoiled fucks.
Right. Exactly.
Next one comes from Spinfluencer, who showcased Geoff Rosa and his LinkedIn profile. So Geoff Rosa, if you don't know, got hot one year betting college basketball, decided to start selling picks on Dub Club. Turns out it was likely that the good year was just some lucky variance, and the Dub Club did not go well. And he was targeted quite a lot online for selling a losing package, essentially. So Geoff Rosa left the Dub Club world and has come out of the woods in the last couple of weeks and said that he's got like what we would call a normal job, in quotations, a normal job. And so he found his LinkedIn profile showcased here that he is an incoming customer relationship advocate at Fidelity Investments. Dub Club on the LinkedIn is wild though, because within the LinkedIn profile, he does showcase his Dub Club as one of, like, on LinkedIn, you can showcase your previous work history. Dub Club was showcased there. So, I mean, hey, he's a good salesman. At the very least, he was able to market that a little bit at least. So what do we think about the transition from Dub Club? What's that?
Fill gaps on the time. You got to fill gaps on the timeline.
I guess.
So he used Dub Club.
He did. Go ahead, Kirk.
Yeah, I like Spinfluencer. Like, the guy's working at Fidelity Investments. Let it go.
Deck.
Let it go. He's gone. He's gone. Why are you looking him up on LinkedIn? Who fucking cares? He's working at Fidelity Investments. He is not betting anymore. Okay, he has Dub Club on his LinkedIn. Why are you on his LinkedIn? He's just trying to live a normal life. Let the kid live.
Well, I will say this. Like, I'm betting because I've experienced this before as well. Spinfluencer before has gone after Geoff Rosa, right? So somebody DM'd him this. I would almost guarantee that someone's like, oh, you got to see this because I then got DM'd something similar, which included a full description of like his roles and responsibilities at Dub Club. I got to say, Dub Club on LinkedIn is one of the saddest but most predictable developments in the sports betting space. Like, of course, someone's trying to frame selling picks on a Discord or whatever as like some sort of startup success story. You know what I'm getting at? Like, I wonder if outside of our industry, if it reads as legit. Like if someone,
Rob,
yeah.
Because I think there's this whole generation of 20-year-olds that can make their first buck maybe through the internet in some way, and I don't know that that's looked down upon.
Right.
Like when we were that age,
right.
That didn't exist. That way to just start getting paid, being on the internet, maybe talking about your interests, talking about fast food, whatever your thing was, that I think like someone in their 30s or late 20s that has a multi-year history of doing something on the internet that made them some money, I don't think is frowned upon. I think it might actually be seen as it's not easy to do, and they did it. So
Agreed.
You get bonus points, maybe.
And that's what I was wondering about, because like I'm reading through this profile now, and it's like he's listing things like developed flexible pricing, enhanced subscriber engagement. Like it's like he's building Salesforce here. Like, but to people who don't know what Dub Club is, to people who know what Dub Club is, I should say, it's laughable. For those that don't, they have no idea, no clue, right? And I think this is the influencer era of betting. Like, to me, that's been the theme of the show today. It's not about being sharp. It's about building the brand, pitching yourself like you're a product, and hoping that nobody can figure out who you actually are. And hey, maybe that's the future, but I mean, it's definitely not the past that I think me and you, Geoff, came from. So I'm allowed to find humor in this. I find this fucking hysterical.
Exist, Rob. If we could make money on the internet at 20, we might have done something that is like really cringe and embarrassing right now.
Geoff, I hosted a covers infomercial when I was like 22 years old. I had an expert on every single day, and I knew their records, and I'm interviewing these guys like they're the best bettors in the world because of two things. For one, I didn't fucking know any better. Like, I had no clue. And two, you're 22 years old and you see an opportunity to start making money and growing in an industry, and you do it. And that's why I don't necessarily blame all these guys. I don't, because it's easy to go down that path. But now that I'm 38 years old and I'm established in this space, I think I can look at that and laugh. Like, I can look back at myself and laugh. I can look at Jeff Rosa and laugh.
I think if you had a successful like travel vlog or food vlog, like I think all of that stuff I think can be used to your advantage when you try to find a real world job.
Well,
now.
Yep.
When I got hired, I didn't even give in a resume. It just, I guess Rob saw my YouTube channel and went, okay, this guy can sit in front of a camera. He can edit videos. Sure. So the people see value in taking initiative and creating your own work. But also on the topic, I've said it before, I commend Jeff Rosa. You know, Dub Club wasn't working. Found a job at Fidelity Investments. Seems to be doing fine. I give him credit. He took a step back. Found seems like a solid job and a solid entry into a career. So good for him.
Yep.
Going further into the corporate world, we have spiraled out of control with the Real Fats at real_fats. Went on an absolute tirade against fucking McDonald's on the weekend. It all started with a rant, a very long rant that I'm not going to read it all, but he was absolutely livid that in an empty drive-thru, his order was going to take a little bit longer than normal. So they asked him to go to a designated area in the parking lot, which they will then bring his food out to him at his car so that he doesn't clog up the drive-thru line. But he was absolutely irate because he was the only person in the drive-thru. So according to him, is there any justifiable reason why at the time I would be asked to pull out of line to wait in a designated area for someone to bring my food out to me? So, you know, I think people, like, you know, if you have a bad time on an airline or at a venue, you might do one tweet. That's it. You just want to rant and you want somebody to listen. It was so much worse. So McDonald's did the right move PR-wise. The goal, if for any company, if somebody's giving you shit online, get it off the public space, get it into a DMs, get it into a website forum, get it away from the public eye. But he extended it much further. They replied to him via DM saying that's definitely annoying, especially when you're in a hurry. Please share your full details, and they'll look into it, essentially. And then he went so much further, like an even longer second tweet here, showing he screenshotted the reply
This is
that
a
McDonald's
fucking
sent
opus, man. Like, I don't even know people write tweets this long anymore.
And he's willing to go further. I don't even know what he's even mad about here. He's like going at the CEO, the CCO, everybody, and he's saying like, I deserve an apology. May I suggest a promo code McSorry? I await the phone numbers of either the top people in your organization that I have requested to speak with, or a tweet or press release acknowledging the issue and assuring customers worldwide that you will address this disruptive and customer souring policy, including your plans to rectify it. #fix the problem. And a little bit of poking at fun here. Zach White at Gamble Balls doing some independent research will report findings showcasing himself in the drive-thru at McDonald's. Wow. This is great. Like, this is truly awesome.
This whole
He is making Zelbert feel normal. Like this is unhinged even for our boy. This is a different level of online stalking. He's on day 4 with a writing a book to McDonald's.
Jeff, this is the most absurd crusade I've ever seen in my Like, this man is trying to escalate being asked to pull forward in a drive-thru to the corporate boardroom. Like, he's demanding a meeting with McDonald's upper management like this is some sort of shareholder dispute, not like a 1 minute delay in getting a filet-o-fish. Like, I don't know what's going on here.
Whatever he's getting fresh, because they ran out of it and they dropped a fresh hot one in the fryer for him. And they're probably like, it's going to take 4 or 5 minutes. They know they get traffic. They were preemptively being like, bro, just pull up. I cannot believe we are on 4 days of him litigating this. All love to Fats, a well-respected person in the space. He's going through a hard time right now. You know, he shares his days with chemo treatments.
Yep.
I've had to sit in hospitals before. You got a lot of time to tweet, but this is never
It's
seen.
so trivial. Like, it's McDonald's. They get busy. You have to wait one extra minute because now you're not right at the window.
This is being talked about in our Forward Progress group chat right now. Like, McDonald's gate is just crazy.
Literally
How are we
this
on
second.
day 4 when we shouldn't even have started day 1? Listen, I respect Fats' willingness to stand up for himself. I really do. But this, from my vantage point, this ain't the fight that's worth like, this is a mild inconvenience. And that's even a stretch.
They are going to walk the food they're going to hand deliver him the bag of food. It's not like you come in and we're making him park and come in and get it. It is still being hand delivered to his window.
Geoff, he's treating this like it's a civil rights issue. I've waited in those parking spots. It's not ideal. But I don't drive away saying I need to brief the COO of the company on, like, you're not Rosa Parks because you didn't want to pull into spot number 3 for 2 minutes. Like, sometimes life is just mildly annoying and you eat the French fries and you move on. And
mildly annoying may even be going too far with this. At least in my local McDonald's, the drive-thru, like the parking lot for these spots is literally in the drive-thru. You have not exited the drive-thru before you reach these spots. You have to make a little turn and just go off to the side. It's not even a mild inconvenience.
What makes this probably more egregious is there's a 99% chance he has a very specific order that requires them to, like, make, they don't
customizations
have to customization, which is a trick. It's a trick I'm sure we've all used. A little customization of fast food it means you're getting a little hot and fresh. You're going to wait an extra couple minutes. That's the freaking trade.
I listen. I've read way too much of this. I've read I understand them saying, Mr. What's his last name? Diano, I think. Mr. Fats, whatever it is.
Steven Diano.
Please drive over there for a minute. We'll bring you your food. And he's like, you know what? There's no one in the drive-thru behind me. Like, can I wait here? I can get how that could be mildly annoying. But they're just like, this is our policy, sir. If you could just go wait over there, someone will bring it to you. You know what I do? I just drive up and I never think about it again. Just like 99.9% of human beings. I don't understand where he's trying to go. Like, what is the end goal there to make it so that everyone across America can sit in the drive-thru till their food is like ready? I don't get it. Like, it's literally, I don't understand why he's so upset. I cannot possibly fathom this. I cannot get it through my head.
His most recent tweet that I see on this says, "This is bigger than me. It not only impacts our entire country, but likely it impacts the McDonald's experience worldwide." So if he's like this online, my God, the poor fucking worker getting minimum wage who had to walk out to that car and get just unleashed on.
They probably want to get out of that kitchen, man. Getting a nice walk to the car every now and then, that seems like a dream.
You think you're just going to hand it off, they'd be like, thank you, and drive away, and you got to sit there and take that shit from him for like how long, probably? Man, that's like... That worker is out there telling some story, and I hope they come across this this thread of tweets one day.
How long? Like, if we are all betting, man. Today's day 4. Like, what's the over under on when this stops?
Oh, I thought you were going to say what's the over under on how many minutes he had to wait that led to this. Which
It might have been a few.
I would say under 5.
Yeah, under 5
minutes.
Unless
Sure.
you were like ordering for a huge group, which he wasn't. It's under 5. I shouldn't be giving away these like secret sauce in public like this. I should save it for a private forum. But like our end of year content, can we have like AI Morgan Freeman reading these tweets? Like, or David Attenborough? Like,
They'll put in more. They'll put in more work than Jacob will beforehand. I'll tell you that, to get the stories right.
I would say I think that we have not seen the end of this. If it is still as upset, he said, okay, so he just said this. He said this 6 hours ago. So we're recording this Monday. He said this at about actually this exact time, 8 a.m. this morning. He woke up in a fit of rage over this, like. Unbelievable. He says, hey, McDonald, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. They didn't adequate staff available over the Father's Day weekend to respond to my last 3 attempts to get answers from you. If you do not properly address this situation today, Monday, I assure you that you will not be happy with what I tweet out tomorrow. So there's a guaranteed follow-up coming Tuesday.
I wonder if he's going to reach out to...
I've already told my close personal friends that if I'm going through a severe health crisis later in my life and I'm doing something like this, to just kill me.
I mean, I just don't understand the amount of time being devoted to this. Like, it's someone in the inner circle's got to be like, dude, this is obviously like a non-issue. I don't know why you're fighting.
Is he pranking everyone?
It could, honestly, that did cross my mind. It did
it's not
cross
like
my
an
mind.
airport who lost his luggage. Like, I get it, right? And who's not helping, or a sports book that he's feel is withholding him thousands of dollars. Like, we can understand certain days-long grievances. This one is beyond, like, even for an 8-year-old would get over it.
Yeah. Well, we'll know officially if he's pranking us when he tweets that he's filing a class action lawsuit against McDonald's that's being led by Bo Wagner.
Oh,
that's when we know officially it will be a joke.
I thought you were going to say class action lawsuit against the Hammer for this segment.
Well,
we'll see.
Wait in line, Fats, for that one.
Hey, he won't. We already know he doesn't want to wait in lines.
It's true. He won't wait.
Rob, just send him to the designated waiting area to file
I'm sorry, and you cannot serve me with that lawsuit right here. You'll have to go around the corner to the parking spot and serve me over there.
I've got some mobile points that they tell me are expiring soon. I wish I could just transfer them to Fats. I'd be like, I'll give you here's a free fry. Like, chill.
It's not about the fries. It's about the principle. Nobody was in line, Geoff. He had to wait when nobody was in line.
I just can't. I cannot process this all. I really cannot.
I hate to have.
How
to
is this chopping block, man?
so
this has to be a full
aggressive
segment.
I think Kirk just wants to go home. But at any point while he was waiting, did another car come through the drive-through?
Well,
because isn't that like a key fact?
Well, they also want to keep the drive-through line clear, right? They don't want somebody waiting there.
It can't be a nuance. Like, it has to be, this is going to take over the allocated time for our drive-through. Put them in the waiting area because in the event somebody shows up.
Company policy. You know, okay, it's over X amount of time, go into the waiting area.
McDonald's is down to, like, the fucking letter with, like, policies.
Yeah, 100%. It's just listen, man wants to get the company policy changed. If that's the fight he wants to fight, let the man fight the fight. But I cannot understand it personally.
No, that was scared. All right, time to move.
Poor franchisee. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Time to move on here. Ian McMillan, we talked about earlier, said shrink the game. He posted a screenshot of Sal Betts, who falls in, I would say, similar category of Alex Caruso for the type of content they produce in the gambling space. And he posted his best bets, I guess, for the U.S. Open, one of which was top 5 finish, Scotty Scheffler, minus 140. I'm not picking him to win because it's a loaded field and his odds are just plus 275. But top 5, I'm in. Here's why. He's won 3 of his last 4 events and finished top 5 at Oakmont in 2 of the last 3 years. He's the best golfer in the world and leads the tour in greens in regulation gained. Do we see a problem with the analysis here from Sal?
Geoff, top 5 at Oakmont 2 of the last 3 years. That would be a solid stat. I believe the last time the U.S. Open was held at Oakmont was like 8 years
16.
ago.
2016, I want to say. So this was clearly like AI wrote that.
Oh yeah,
I think.
I mean, people are in the comments are saying he copy pasted ChatGPT output. I don't know if that's true. Wouldn't surprise me, but because this is what the content game looks like now. Just get something out. Doesn't have to be accurate. Just has to sound confident, and I could put it in a tweet. Again, another guy. This is a difference between real bettors and brand builders, right? Like if you're sharp, you always check the details. If you're farming likes, you fire off a golf stat that's off by a decade and hope that people don't notice. It's absurd what the space has become.
Out of all the people Rob's referring to, of like the group of shameless content people, this guy might be my least favorite. He's also the one who tweets out the NFL incentives before the lines are up.
Yeah.
Which is actually probably the most egregious thing anyone does in the space.
That's from a different account too. Like this account, Sal Bets, I just looked, like has like 80K followers. He has another like Sal Vitri DFS account that's way bigger as well. Like it's again,
Yeah.
He's accumulating followers, man. I don't get it. I truly do not get it.
Yeah.
All right, last piece for the chopping block here. Matt Zilbert tweeted, I see 2020 NFL season. What are you talking about, little dude? ROI is a waste of time. I'm flat betting standard minus 110-ish, 1 unit bets. Also impossible to tally all the profits going back 10 years. Some measurements were in dollars, others in units, one in plus 100 with Vegas Insider. Dibs quote tweeted saying ROI is a waste of time. Wrap it up, folks. We're done here. Have at it, guys. Go ahead.
Listen, I've given Zilbert the benefit of the doubt before. Some may even say I brought him back into the spotlight, which, whatever, draw your own conclusions. Saying ROI doesn't matter is the ultimate tell that like you're not even trying to make money. Like ROI is not a perfect metric, but it's better than shouting about your record over and over like it means anything. Like Zilbert, I'm going to tell you this right now. Let's just say you hit at 58%, okay? A guy hitting 58% over 100 bets is not beating someone who's hitting 54% over 5,000 plus EV bets. Like, profit is what matters. Volume matters. Record doesn't matter. You are obsessed with how many games you've won, but you've ignored how little you've made doing it. Like, you are the sports betting equivalent of a guy who brags about his batting average in, like, slow pitch beer league. Nobody cares. People are cashing, like, paychecks in the majors. Forget this shtick is done. Enough with this shtick of my documented, verified record. And stop jumping in people's DMs, arguing with them about it. No one cares. No one. Even me, I give you the benefit of the doubt forever. I can't handle it anymore. Enough with this. Enough. Bet volume, find more edges, and like figure it. Like that's it. That I've said my piece at this point.
It's funny that he says ROI doesn't matter when in reality his favorite metric of like win percentage with no like money made or ROI or odds attached is like actually the worst metric that people use, because that's like the most common question I get of like, oh, what's your win percentage? It's like, what the hell does it matter if my win percentage is 50% if I'm betting minus 1,000? Like that's just, win percentage is the real irrelevant metric without context.
It's listen, like I'm sorry, Zilbert, that I ruined your favorite segment of Chopping Block here, but I had to say it. Like, you know, going into Kirk's mentions and being like, where's your documented record? First and foremost, Kirk did track publicly on BetStamp for years and built up a very nice publicly documented record, and then moved into like I'm going to bet more. I don't want people to see the action, which is totally his prerogative. But like, when I know what Kirk bets, and when I see Zilbert go in there, it's like, Zilbert, you can bet for the next decade, and you are not going to bet the amount of volume that Kirk bets on one game. Like, enough with this. Enough. And that's not an exaggeration. Stop doing this.
And I guarantee he's still going to comment on this one.
You're talking about it like he bets for money. He bets for clout. He bets for clout. He's not chasing a dollar. He's chasing 60% to immortality. It's like we're going to watch Ted Williams hit 400. That's what we're doing this summer. Good luck, Zalb.
But what's the end goal here? Like, you're going to want it to be put in, like, the Sports Gambling Hall of Fame? I don't get it. Like, what? He's just pissing off every single person that he's trying to gain respect from. I don't understand what the end goal is here.
I feel like it's
quality. He's pissing off people he's trying to get respect from.
It's the theme of the episode of people betting for or posting for like numbers and clout rather than eyeballs. And he fits into that as well, for sure.
What a great way to sum it all up. That is the end of today's episode. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you so much, everybody, for 19,000 subscribers on Circles Off. We really appreciate all the growth you've given us. Let's keep on pushing forward. Drop a like if you enjoyed. Rate and review 5 stars if you're listening in audio form. And we will see you again next time with the Friday Crew.